2013 Ford C-Max SEL Hybrid 2.0. Customer brought it to me, running really poorly. Have some codes in the computer for PCM, the ones that matter. Going to be this one's primary at this point. Got a random misfire. I think we may be if I can get this, there we go. We may be misidentifying some cylinders, but first things first, we've got a problem on cylinder number 4. That injector is actually being turned off by the PCM. I'm going to go look quickly. I got a quick waveform on the injector ramping on this just to verify before I took it apart, because this one's actually got a mass airflow meter inside this airbox set up on the top of the engine here, which means you can't really run it without that being in place, because it's going to set codes and run like crap, and it's already running like crap, so it may not even run without that being in place. So I'll show you real quick the injector ramping, and then we'll go back into looking at the resistance on the injectors to check those. Okay, here's the capture that I had. You can see obviously missing one. 1, 2, 3, which should have one here. 1, 2, 3, you see not have one here. The 12 volts coming in from fuse F34. I'll show you that real quick. But that one, that fuse, well, I don't need to show you that. That's where I'm plugged in on the coil ramp, injector ramp. But that fuse F34 is where it gets power to the injector, through the windings of the injector and out to the control wire of the PCM. PCM doesn't detect a signal there, so it doesn't fire off that injector. So that injector is just turned off by the PCM. So it's not an injector driver problem. It is actually this one, it ends up being a injector problem, not any problems with wiring or anything like that. And I'll show you that here. I'll show you a little info on Identifix here, just so we can get some specifications. Basically, I'm going to look for a known good on this car and compare it. I'm getting roughly 18 ohms, and I'll show you that here. But we'll do a known good on cylinder number 1, and then go to a known bad on cylinder number 4. Okay, power probe 4 hooked up in a resistance mode or driver mode. Should be able to test on this terminal here. It goes through that. It got 14 ohms of resistance, 14.8, basically 15 ohms. So within my 11 to 18. Let's do that same test over here on number 4. Move some things out of the way. Let me get situated and then I'll come back. Okay, not the easiest setup right here, but basically should be able to test the exact same way on this, test it on the other, and it won't complete the test. Let me touch it to the ground terminal and just show. Okay, basically 1.2 ohms resistance and no continuity through that. So we're out of range, or just infinite at this point. So this needs an injector. I'm going to inform the customer and see if I can come back with a good one in hand and show you some of that information once I get that far. Okay, next day, got my parts in. I want to show one final test. Here's the new injector here. Old injector still in place. Can't see it right there. Old injector still in place and plugged in. Okay, on the data pads, if you'll look on yours, if you ever have this problem, injector fault, right now it's showing number 4 does have an error. I measured it just a few minutes ago. It's basically infinite resistance on number 4. We have about 12.4 to 12.8 ohms resistance on the new injector. What I'm going to do is unplug this injector and basically just give the 12 volts coming on the feed wire a place for that to make it through to the computer on this, so the computer can sense that, and then it'll turn this light off. So as I plug that in, we go to no error. Unplug it. Try and do that one-handed. There. Error. So that just further proves that we've got a problem out of that number 4 injector. So I'm going to go after replacing it and then come back once I get that completed and see if all of our codes go away for misfires or if we still have some more. I've got it in. Just a quick rundown of what all procedure-wise had to happen. A couple of 8mm bolts here, one and one here. That gets this off. And I have to unplug basically everything that you can see. Knock sensor here, all the coils. Pop these loose from the hold downs, all the injectors, of course. Basically everything you can get your hands on needs to be unplugged and brought this way so that you can then take these, well, I forgot about that. Take these two 10mm bolts out. There's one also here for a noise canceling device on this. That needs to go come off, and then you can get to the one down on the bottom, take the rail off gently, and then you can start changing out your injector. What I had picture-wise or waveform-wise, this is, oh, if I can get it to good there we go. Let's see, now we don't have any missing humps here because we have no injector fault determined by the PCM. I think I need to drive it. Oop, see how it's going to do, and then go from there and try not to break my tools.